Jesus. The Ninth Configuration. I did a movie once called The Ninth Configuration. And it was one of the most unforgettable experiences of my life.
Ninth Configuration. William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist, wrote a wonderful film called The Ninth Configuration. Boy, what an experience that was, man.
Oh, we needed the 10th configuration. I mean, we were over in Hungary, and Bill Blatty was a novice director, and Joe and I were playing buddies in the film, and it was long and arduous, but it was because of Joe, it was one of the most satisfying film experiences that I've ever had.
They were quite a team, because at one point I had considered casting Joe in Jason's part. Yeah, no, it would have been quite a different thing, but still a wonderful thing that way.
And he was very inspirational to a cast of actors. He loved being in movies, but he also loved the socialization and the gregariousness of being with other actors, that kind of group in which he could go in and become a leader.
So you can imagine, the nature of the movie takes place in an institution to begin with, and the whole place was crazy as it is, and these actors, I mean, it was rock and roll time, man. It was really wild.
Blatty's idea was that he would go over here to Budapest to shoot this movie because it was cheap. It was a lot better exchange on the money. And to get a better movie and a better ensemble effort from all these 22 guys that were in the movie. No women, 22 guys. He would take us all over there, even though our part might only be worth 2 weeks of work in the States, we'd be there for the whole thing. So, what he got was 22 furious men who were stuck in Budapest with a language that nobody can speak except Budapestians and some little corner of Finland, and 22 drunks.
We're carousers. We're very nocturnal creatures, and we had a great time. And at that time, Hungary was communist. And Joe right away figured out where the black market was. We got our money's worth when we were over there, believe me.
The Iron Curtain was up, and it was a different feeling in the atmosphere. It was a lot of oppression and suppression. And Joe Spinell was like, "What are you kidding me?" He was so vocal and so voiceful. And a lot of these people, wonderful people, by the way, but over a period of time, because of the nature of this political philosophy, had kind of, they were intimidated, they were quiet, they were beaten down. You didn't say certain things. It was very fearful. You could feel in the ether a degree of fear and apprehension. And there was a lot of people that went on that picture couldn't last. Nicol Williamson, for one of them, he went nuts and threw a chair through a window and flipped out. And then I forget who else was in the lead before Scotty Wilson. There was another actor. I think it was Michael Moriarty. He got crazy. He couldn't take the environment.
And 22 guys who thought, well, it'll be great. I'll be there for 2 months, and I'll go to Moscow on the time off. I'll go travel around. I'll see Vienna. I'll go to Prague, Czechoslovakia, and I'll get to see all of Eastern Europe, and that'll be great. No, that didn't happen because there was so much drug activity going on during the shooting of this movie that Blatty decided that he would put up the call sheet for the next day's work at midnight. So you never knew until midnight when you had to find the call sheet to see if you were working the next day. So you could never make a plan to go anywhere. And it got to the point to where Tom Shaw, the line producer, would come around banging on hotel room doors. Tom, get up. Come on. The bus is out front. Come on. You're called today. Eddie Flanders. Eddie, get up. Come on. Oh, the hell with you. I'm not going. I won't be there. Come back in an hour. Oh, it was nuts. My favorite, though, the best was they had this disco on the top floor. That real funky, kind of weird European rock music that was bizarre. But we were all up there one night. Scott Wilson, me, Jason Miller, and Joe Spinell, a whole bunch. And Jason saw this girl sitting over across the room. And we're ripped. We're loaded out of our mind. And Jason saw this girl that he had danced with and met at the American Embassy the prior week and had fallen in love with, even though he was married with children in the States. And she's sitting with the ambassador from Nigeria.
It was a bit of a problem one night, not Jason's fault. But in the fourth floor discotheque at the Budapest Hilton, Jason approached the table occupied by the Nigerian ambassador and his wife and a couple of other people. And he asked the Nigerian ambassador's wife to dance. This was the sort of payback, because at the socials, Jason said the Nigerian ambassador will always insist on dancing with everybody's wife or girlfriend.
And she's a white girl, and he said, "Look at that motherfucker, that son of a bitch. I'm gonna go over, I wanna dance with her." Go ahead. So he goes over and he said, will you dance? And she says, "No, I'm with him." No. He comes back to the bar and he's doing this real low sort of threatening thing. "I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill that motherfucker." And Joe Spinell says, "Hey, Jason, you know what? I'm tired of hearing your shit. There ain't nothing to it but to do it." Jason charges across the room, leaps across the table at the guy, but comes up short and lands on the table. And the guy stands up and starts banging Jason on the back of the head. And Joe Spinell goes over, takes a whiskey bottle off the bar, goes over and smacks the guy over the head with a whiskey bottle. And the guy is brushing glass out of his head. You fucking Americans, you fucking, in a Nigerian accent. Then bottles and shit start flying back and forth from their banquet to this bar, and there's a big crystal chandelier over the bar, and it's getting chipped and banged and thrown. And we all, I can't remember the black guy's name. Anyway, he said, "We better get the fuck out of here."
They woke me up at about 3 a.m. and they sat in this little couch in front of me. And before they gave me any detail of what happened, Joe Spinell said he pulled a knife on us. The Nigerian ambassador pulled a knife.
How'd you find out about that? Did a little research, huh? Well, we suffice to say, we got involved in a minor bar room brawl, one of the old-fashioned ones, but it was minor with these two Russians. I mean, no, two Germans. I don't know, they were Germans or Russians. Anyway, there were some damages, and so they confiscated our passports the next day, and they took, after shooting, they took me and Joe to the police station. And it was funny walking through the police station because nobody was in the police station because everybody was afraid to commit a crime in Hungary. So for this kind of minor infraction, barroom brawl. We were the criminals of Budapest. And they took us into this room, and they started to interrogate. And they said, "Well, who hit who? And did you really hit this man in the head with a bottle? And did you throw a table at somebody over there?" And yeah, we did. And the other cop, what he called, said, "Could you tell us about The Godfather?" Joe right away launches into what The Godfather was and what Marlon Brando was like, and these two cops there just sitting there soaking it all up, soaking everything up. And finally, they let us go again. So we go back down, and we go to work the next day. Come out, and there's the same cop car waiting, taking us down. I said, "Joe, you gotta shut up about the mafia. You gotta shut up about The Godfather. These guys have let us go. They just want you there to tell them stories of the mafia and stories of The Godfather. That's all they want. They're starved for these. They're going home and telling their uncles and their aunts. They're repeating everything. Joe, this will go on for a month. You gotta stop telling these very vivid, graphic stories about the mafia." And sure enough, we go in there. I don't know how they knew about it. The same old stuff. They show us the sketches, and then they sit back and they light their cigars and they say, "Now the French Connection, we understand you were in the..." I said, "Joe, shut up and don't say a word."
Remember one night getting a call from I guess the ex Mrs. Spinell at the time, and she said, "You've got to help me." I said, "Why, what's wrong?" She said, "They arrested Joe." I said, "Well, what did he do?" And apparently he had an altercation with somebody. He wasn't going to stand for this bullshit. And I forget what happened, but it was in a discotheque or something. Anyway, he was under house arrest by the secret police. Put him under house arrest in Lennon Street somewhere in some strange place. And I had to sneak money in. I had you can't go in with a certain amount of money, so I had to bring this money over there to buy him out.
What a disaster it was. It was so much fun, though. And they wanted to kick Jason out of the country, and Joe, the two of them. But what's his face talked them out of it, because he said, "I got half the movie shot. I can't. I'll lose everything. I can't replace them now."
I thought I was going to, lose two cast members, but the Hungarians were cool.
So they moved Joe Spinell to a hotel across town, the Gellert. Actually, a prettier old hotel than the one we were all in.
There was no repercussion except to confiscate Joe's skates. He had a pair of roller skates, and apparently he used them to skate over the historic marble floor of the entry to the Budapest, I forget the name of the hotel, some grand hotel there. We confiscated his skates.
Oh, it was nuts. It was really nuts.